Hello everybody! If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 634, The Last Bus Home. Intermediate. The streetlights of the city were watery blurs in the rain. Anna stood shivering under the awning of the bus stop, her eyes fixed on the empty road. It was already past midnight. The late bus was late, and an unsettling quiet had fallen over the usually busy street. A man appeared from the shadows, walking towards her. He was tall, with his collar turned up against the cold. Anna clutched her handbag tighter. She tried to ignore him, checking her phone for a signal that wasn't there. The man stopped a few feet away. "Waiting long?" he asked, his voice low and calm. "Not really," she lied, looking away. "The number 12 is often late this time of night," he said. "I'm walking that way, if you'd like to share an umbrella." He held out a black umbrella. Rain pattered on the canvas above her, but she still felt the chill. "No, thank you," she said quickly. "The bus will be here soon." He didn't move. A feeling of dread started to creep up her neck. She thought about running, but where would she go? The bus stop was isolated. "I insist," he said, stepping closer. The light from a nearby shop window glinted on something in his hand. It wasn't an umbrella. It was a knife. "Now, Anna," he said, his voice no longer calm. "Let's not make this difficult." Her heart hammered against her ribs. He knew her name. How? She had never seen him before. She forced herself to think clearly. Her gaze flickered to the street, and she saw a flicker of headlights in the distance. The bus. She took a deep breath. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, her voice trembling but steady. He smiled, a cold, humorless expression. "I've been watching you for a while. You always take this bus, don't you? I noticed the way you looked at the poster for the museum on the platform, the one with your picture." Anna's mind raced. He wasn't a random attacker. He was a professional. The museum job, the missing statue. She had seen him a few days ago on the bus, watching her. But she had dismissed it as a coincidence. Now she realized he was the one who had taken the statue. The bus was closer now, its bright lights cutting through the darkness. The man shifted, his focus on the bus. That was her chance. She acted without thinking, reaching for her bag. "I have it," she whispered. He stopped, his eyes wide with surprise. "The statue? Where?" "In my bag," she lied. She quickly unzipped the bag and reached in, her fingers wrapping around the cold, heavy canister of pepper spray she kept for emergencies. The man stepped forward, his eyes on the bag. "Give it to me, now!" As he lunged, Anna raised the spray and pressed the button. A cloud of spicy liquid hit him directly in the face. He cried out in pain, stumbling back, clutching his eyes. The bus squealed to a halt, its doors opening with a hiss. Anna didn't hesitate. She threw her bag inside and scrambled up the steps. The driver looked at her, his expression confused, but he saw the man on the pavement doubled over and clearly in pain. Anna sat down in the nearest seat, her whole body shaking. She watched the bus pull away, leaving the man behind. She was safe. The last bus home had arrived just in time. Vocabulary notes. Shivering. Meaning: to shake slightly and uncontrollably because you are cold, afraid, or ill. Example: Anna stood shivering under the awning of the bus stop, her eyes fixed on the empty road. Similar words: trembling, quivering, shaking. Unsettling. Meaning: making you feel nervous, uncomfortable, or worried. Example: and an unsettling quiet had fallen over the usually busy street. Similar words: disturbing, disquieting, worrying. Clutched, meaning to hold something tightly in your hand. Example: Anna clutched her handbag tighter. Similar words: gripped, held tightly, grasped. Glinted, meaning to shine brightly for a moment, to sparkle or flash. This often happens on a smooth, hard surface. Example: the light from a nearby shop window glinted on something in his hand. Similar words: sparkled, flashed, gleamed. Scrambled, meaning to move or climb quickly but awkwardly, often using your hands. Example: she threw her bag inside and scrambled up the steps. Similar words: hurried, clambered, rushed. Story written by Gemini AI. Image created by onemin.ai. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
Ever wonder what makes a thriller, well, thrilling? Today we're going to put a short, suspenseful story under the microscope, really break it down to see the techniques that get your heart racing. So let's jump right in. Okay, let's start with the very first line of the story. Right out of the gate, this one sentence just paints this whole picture. See, it's not just raining. The whole world is blurry. You can't see clearly, and it feels lonely. The author is setting a mysterious, isolated mood from the absolute get-go. So first up is the setup. In any story, this is what's called the exposition. It's where we meet our main character and get just enough of a sense of her situation to feel those first little hints of tension creeping in. And here she is. Meet Anna. The author immediately starts piling on her vulnerability. She's alone, she's cold, it's unnervingly quiet, and here's the kicker: no phone signal. Every single one of these details is a deliberate choice made to cut her off from the world. And if that wasn't enough, check this out. The time itself is basically another character in the story. Being alone past midnight feels totally different than just being alone when it's late. It implies a whole new level of danger, and it ramps up the tension before anything has even happened. Now, let's zoom in on one specific word: shivering. This is such a clever choice. I mean, sure, it could just mean she's cold from the rain, but look at the definition. It can also mean she's afraid. It's a physical reaction that's also a huge clue about how she's feeling inside. And then there's this word, unsettling. The street isn't just quiet, it's an unsettling quiet. This little adjective tells us that the silence feels wrong. You know, it's unnatural. It's like that feeling you get right before a storm hits. All right, so the scene is set. Let's move on and see how this all starts to build. This part of the story is the rising action, where that unsettling feeling we've been talking about starts to become very, very real. And there it is. The conflict arrives. A stranger literally emerges from the shadows, shattering that tense quiet and confirming all of Anna's unspoken fears. His appearance is the trigger for everything that's about to happen. Now, check out Anna's first reaction. She doesn't speak, she doesn't run. She clutches her bag. It's such a tiny physical action, but it says everything about her fear. In a moment where she feels totally insecure, she's instinctively gripping the only thing she has. This slide is a masterclass in building suspense. Look at the left side. His words seem perfectly normal, almost helpful, right? But on the right, we see what's actually going on inside Anna's head. It's that huge gap between his casual chat and her growing dread that creates that powerful, skin-crawling tension. And here it is, the reveal. That potential threat, It's not potential anymore. It is a real, immediate, and absolutely terrifying danger. In this single moment, all of Anna's fear is completely justified. The polite conversation was just a mask.
And again, pay attention to the word choice. Glinted. A knife could shine, sure, but glinting feels different. It suggests a quick, sharp, almost predatory flash of light. It's a verb that instantly makes the weapon feel so much more menacing.
Okay, here we go. We've now reached the story's climax. This is the absolute peak of the tension, the turning point where our character can't just feel afraid anymore. She has to act if she wants to survive. So here's this incredible twist. He knows her name. This isn't just some random mugging. All of a sudden, the stakes are completely different. He has a very specific reason for being there, which means he's calculated, he's professional, and he's way more dangerous than she could have imagined.
And just then, a lifeline appears, the bus. It represents safety, but it's also a ticking clock. So how does she get from where she is to there when a man is holding a knife on her? What would you do in this situation? Let's see what Anna does.
This is such a pivotal moment. Instead of just fight or flight, Anna chooses a third option, strategy. She uses her mind. She tells a very specific lie that's designed to do just one thing, shift his focus and create an opening for herself. And look how her plan unfolds in these 3 lightning-fast, decisive steps. Lie, distract, attack. This sequence just shows us she's not just a victim. She is resourceful and totally capable of fighting back, even when she's terrified.
Okay, time for a deep breath. The climax is over, and now we get to see the immediate result of Anna's brave and clever move. The tension starts to release as we finally find out if her plan actually worked. And it works! Her quick thinking pays off big time. She disables her attacker and buys herself those precious few seconds she needs to get away. The immediate threat has been neutralized.
And notice this final word used to describe her escape. Scrambled. She doesn't just run or climb onto the bus, she scrambles. This word just perfectly conveys the desperation, the messiness, and the sheer urgency of her getting away from mortal danger. And with that, the conflict is over. The title of the story pays off. The bus wasn't just a bus, it was her salvation. This final line brings this huge sense of relief, and it wraps up our short, sharp thriller.
So now that we've walked through the whole story, let's pull back and quickly recap the key techniques the author used to build all of that suspense and create such an effective little thriller.
So here it is, the formula in action. You create an isolated setting, bring in a mysterious threat, contrast the dialogue with what's really going on inside, slowly reveal the real danger, and use a ticking clock, like the bus. Each one of these is a tool used to keep us on the edge of our seats. And this leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Was Anna's escape really all down to her brilliant, quick-thinking plan? Or was it just a matter of pure luck that the last bus home showed up at that exact, perfect moment? It's something to think about.